I'm pretty intuitive. I mean, I follow intuition, guided by imagination. I try to step out of the way of the desiring machine, let's say, that you find yourself trapped into. I mean, we are bombed by media, all the time. Like, I don't know how many possibilities of subscriptions do we have now. It's a bit of disgusting. So I subscribe to the Mediathèque of Paris, for instance, and I pay a small subscription. I can have access to every weirdo document, film, record play, whatever. So it feels more free. It feels like navigating, exploring freely, in a real space. Although I love virtuality, and for instance, one of my main things is explore digitally sounds like warping, beat depth, sampling rate, all that little parasites you can get from malfunctioning algorithms and stuff. So it's a way to really get to know, to explore digitally your audio workstations and to push them to the very limits. Try to find every corner, you can tweak to push the tempo down till the limit, to push the warping algorithm, try to find. It's not about finding some kind of revival of nostalgia. It's not about that. Because I prefer to imagine something for my own, that to go back to a certain future, past that doesn't exist anymore, and try to imagine the future from back then. It's not about that, it's about, exploring what we have now. So trying to do my best with what I have at home. I record with an open mic, without like a anti-pop thing, so I record not taking too much attention into levels and that, because I'm going to profit about all this. And then start this kind of encapsulation process where I listen to what I have, I start somehow improvising, trying to look for a vibe, for let's say, to create a landscape of a thing. And this landscape is very inspired by this notion of, empty spaces half taken by nature, like this silent riot of nature, But, I mean, if you go quiet, if you go silent, is this something happening? It's like you can shape the silence, or you can take a look on small details, explore this, zoom in, like Hong Kong zoom, like into details, and start building from that. So then it's really 90% possible. Like I will record that and encapsulate, put it in a layer, and then start playing again. Maybe I use it to play as a sample now. So maybe I map my entire keyboard with the samples, the sampler, the simpler things I've been coding over the years, or I've been using from digital audio workstations and that, and then again, exploring and tweaking the notes, finding, and I think it's the sculpt, I'm sculpting the stone somehow, so to speak, very naturally, because in a way the material leads me, I let myself go, but then I step back, I listen. I try to listen on the way, on the fly, a lot. And then maybe, I don't know, very often I choose to record some instrument, random instruments. I try to play them badly, and that's the beauty of bad playing an instrument, because you focus on mistakes, and try to do a sound that you cannot reach, and then this is fragility of the process of trying to. and it goes on a loop forever, and then I try to focus on non-narrative things, like trying not to go from A to B, or trying not to be narrative. Although I use lately some video backgrounds, some video layers where they are like going from A to B because it's a walking on street. I made like a series of pieces using walking down videos in Tokyo, like I download from YouTube with the authorization of the authors, of course. You can use it. So I say, okay, what's your name? I would like to give you credits about. No, forget about credits. I don't care. Just, I mean, if you like, you put the name of the channel, you know, like. Okay, I like that. It's like going back to this freedom of, you know, when internet was like a more open space, like, well, perhaps more piracy land of, yeah, information was more, like, well, anyway, we were tracked anyway. So, yeah, although I'm using these layers of very concrete imagery, you know, you recognize a city, it looks like a narrative, you know, it goes, where is this camera going, you know. The only thing I do is I just warp the video to fit into the duration of the track I'm making. I mean, for instance, sometimes I force myself to do, okay, 9 minutes, 0.00. You know, to put like a bucket, you know, and try to fit the energy of what I'm doing in there. It's about the encapsulation process. It goes from like kind of improvisation, playing, recording, playing again from a different angle, perhaps not using an electric guitar or a keyboard, but instead using the sample itself. Then I focus, perhaps I go zoom and edit like old school electroacoustic composer, whatever, zooming in, you know, putting the automations here and there, and then the process goes on and on and on, and then I shape the last part of the track, because sometimes I listen, I watch the video, and I say, okay, here I need like slow it down, or maybe just some massive reverb because of the aesthetic I'm looking for, which is inspired by these vibes. Perhaps the video I've been using is not related with the vibes I have in mind or in my body when I look for this sounding landscape. So all this functioning brought me here to this project. It started with talks with Tom in Paris. I mean, we met in a party, in a party of a composer friend, and we started talking. He already went to a premiere of a piece of mine which was played by Josh. So everything is interlinked, and this is, you know, we are going to transpose this in hyperlinked way of progressing, of going forward to these several locations we're going to use in one way or another. This place looks amazing in the sense like it gives a nice contrast vibe with the other ones. It's not falling apart yet. I mean, it looks safe and that, but you have this, I don't know, all these ornaments, the candles, and you know, these textures, you know, these sounds, the acoustics, pretty different. Good difference.
Different level.
Yeah, different level of decay, and yeah, I mean, you can feel the vibe of people enjoying, you know, a good movie or something like that, you know, this cozy ambient, or okay, this is time for chilling out, I'll think or whatever. And
what about like you mentioned this role of mistakes or errors, like in a digital context, like an algorithm? How does this come to play when you actually work with other performers?
Well, the players plays a specific role in my mind, in the sense I try to be very conscious about the moment where you are going to listen and discover the piece. Try to put myself into the body and shoes of people I don't know. They step into the concert, they discover the piece, and they go into what you are proposing. But in the same time, they are in a space you don't control, because you don't know where the venue is going to be. The movie, I mean, and all what makes the live concert, properly speaking. So when it comes to designing or thinking the actions the player will do, it's almost the last part of the process, I will say, because I try to open some space in this. Imagine I try to recreate a fresco of electronic sound when I can really manage and shape the energy. So it's this ongoing, always present, massive fresco in the range of, it's from the highs to the low ends. Try to be, present and fast and going. And the video is also warp. Synchronicity, this is the 3-layer things. You have the video, the electronic sounds pre-recorded. I mean, there's sounds from the speakers, so PA system, and then the player. And the player, I like to make this analogy of archipelago thing. You have this intervention of the player. It's really synced rhythmically, but I try to find a really weird in the sense of unexpected sound or technique. And then I try to keep it really short. And so I provoke this, when you discover this piece live or whatever, I try to put myself in the shoes of the audience. I say, okay, I'm listening to speakers, I'm watching a video, and then I'm watching a guy on stage and he plays, a weird thing. It is connected, but I'm discovering, okay, what's going to be next? And then you have space of silent, for the player, and then you have another thing. And you start, maybe you can recognize some abstract sounds, perhaps, although I try to keep it very synthetic in the sense, explore synthesis, I mean, digital synth, like lo-fi plugins, whatever. I try to find the free ones, the ones who really work badly, and I spend a lot of time tweaking knobs and that, and the space, the room for free improv, if you were thinking about that, it's something I wouldn't dare to step into the creative process. I try always to get involved with the vibes and the personality of the player. You cannot control really what's going to, because it's you putting things on paper, trying to communicate through notation with the player and with technique, trying to not fuck up with the things, trying to it's very important for me to deliver something they found interesting to play. At least 4% of define, things. I try to absorb this knowing people part of the process. Same for when I have to collaborate with not musicians, for instance, now I'm working in close collaboration with Goran, video art, so this is kind of sound video, but it's going to be intertwined. It's never like you do your part and the other guy, and then you match it together. It's going to be a ping pong, thing, and it's like you do something, you wait for the things, and you go back, he goes back, you go further, and that's the beauty. And somehow things get shaped at the end. I mean, we shape it. We have experience doing stuff, so we know we want to, you know, if you want to get more immersive at some point, you try to build this way to provoke, you know, to influence, inception, whatever, and to be really, you know, to absorb, you know, to be permeable, you know, like, you don't go to the rain with an umbrella, you just go out, you know, and that's beauty.
Yeah, I feel like there's like, you create this space, but where it actually changes is through the interpretation of everyone involved in the creation, and then the final interpretation of the audience actually interpreting. You can't control how they in the end.
And I will never even dream about that. But for instance, which is the unprecedented part in my life of being here is to be here. Just to travel here, to get the smells, you know, to get the walks and the heat, the whatever. This is going to reshape everything, you know. And from now on, everything I will try to, when you put your fingers on the instruments or on the knobs, on the effects, from the pool of effects, from the thousands of effects we have, I don't know why, but you go directly to one. Why? Because of the influence of being here, you know? Because you have this untransferable... I don't even care about putting into words what the feelings I have. It's pretty clear for me, so it's me working. I don't have to tell... It's not like doing a movie, like you have to rely and, you know, communicate with the people taking care of the lights, because it's very important. It's you in your computer doing sound for hours, so you know where exactly, or maybe you don't feel like satisfied with what you have or what you think you have, and then you go exploring all around. But again, when you go explore on an internet or whatever, or friends, this guy has. I remember he has a reverb. It will match with this, you know, with this ambient, with this theater. It's going to sound cool in a way, you know, cool in a way, in the way it gives you more, you know, more envy to go forward.